These are the top 10 tips and tricks for Warzone 2. Whether you're a beginner looking to improve your skills or an experienced gamer looking for that extra edge, these tips and tricks will help you dominate the battlefield and emerge victorious. Tip number 1, choose the right loadout. In Warzone 2, choosing the right loadout can make a big difference in your performance. For example, Al Mazrah is a very large map with a lot of open areas, so a sniper rifle or a long-range assault rifle or an LMG may be a good choice here. But it's also worth considering that it has a lot of smaller locations too, where there's a lot of buildings that you can go into, so close quarter combat is quite a primary focus as well. So focus on either taking a shotgun, submachine gun, maybe dual pistols, whatever takes your fancy and works well with your playstyle to be effective in these situations. But if you are struggling to know what the best guns are to use in Warzone 2, I constantly make guides for the best weapons to use in Warzone 2, so head over to my channel to check that out. Tip number 2, perks. Perks are special abilities that can be equipped in Warzone 2 by getting your loadout, and this will give you a huge advantage in battle. There is a wide variety of perks to choose from, each with its own unique benefits. Some may increase your speed or agility, while others will allow you to see the exact location and direction of your enemies on your radar when a UAV is active, or some just reduce the amount of damage that you take from explosives. Experiment with different combinations of perks and find the ones that work best for you and your playstyle. However, just a quick tip here, if you are using a weapon with low handling speed and it feels like it takes forever to swap your weapons, so you constantly get caught out when someone rushes you, I'd suggest using the perk Fast Hands, as this just allows you to swap between your weapons very quickly. Tip number 3, communicate with your team. Communication is key in Warzone 2. Use your microphone or in-game chat to communicate with your teammates and coordinate your strategies. Let them know where enemies are, not just vocally, but with live pings as well, what weapons and equipment you have, or if you're running low on ammo, check around to see if anyone has any extra, as that way you can be useful in the next gunfight, and just what your plans are going forward, so you're not going to be running off by yourself and getting caught out all alone. That way you and your team can coordinate and have the most success and the highest chances of getting that win. Tip number 4, stay on the move. In Warzone 2, staying on the move is essential, as the gas is always closing in, and in my experience, it's always best to move quickly and early, as this can often lead to you getting the high ground or the best position possible, which will lead to more wins in Warzone 2, as position is key. So the moment you get the view of the next circle, I'd suggest hopping in a car or starting to rotate early, plan out your route, and moving to a position that is going to give you the best tactical edge possible. Tip number 5, use cover effectively. Cover is your best friend in Warzone 2. Whenever you're in a firefight, take advantage of any nearby cover to protect yourself from enemy fire. Use buildings, walls, and other objects to shield yourself from enemy attacks. Try to position yourself that you have a clear line of sight on your enemies, whilst giving them a harder time hitting you. This isn't just important in gunfights, but also transitioning from one location to another, as when you're on the move, you want to think, am I vulnerable from a certain direction? If so, can I utilize certain cover or terrain to minimize my risk of being attacked by an enemy? Tip number 6, stay alert. In Warzone 2, you need to stay alert and keep your eyes open at all times. Keep an eye on your radar to see where enemies are and be ready to react to any unexpected attacks. Listen out for the sounds of gunfire, footsteps, and pay attention to your surroundings to spot any potential threats. By staying alert and aware, you'll be able to react more quickly to enemy movements and take them out before they can do any damage to you. Tip number 7, use stealth when possible. Stealth can be a powerful tool in Warzone 2, especially if you're playing as part of a team. If you're able to move quickly and quietly without being detected, you can take out your enemies without them even knowing that you're there. Use silence weapons and avoid making noise, and try to stay hidden behind cover whenever possible. This will give you the element of surprise and allow you to delete your enemies without them being able to return fire. Tip number 8, use equipment wisely. In Warzone 2, you have access to a variety of equipment that can give you an advantage in battle. This includes grenades, mines, and other explosives and tactical equipment that can help you take out groups of enemies or clear out buildings. Use your equipment wisely and try to conserve it for when it will have the most impact. For example, you might want to save your grenades for when you're pushing a building and you know your enemies are holding up a certain room, or use claymores to block off key routes into a building or room. And then with field upgrades as well, and if you are holding up a room, then maybe a trophy system can be really useful, as it can destroy incoming enemy grenades, flashbangs, rocket launchers, etc., and it will really help you in avoiding being pushed. Tip number 9, experiment and learn. One of the best ways to improve your skills in Warzone 2 is to experiment and learn from your mistakes. Now, I still do this every single game I play, and I'm a top 5% Warzone player, as there's still many things that I'll do wrong in a game. Don't be afraid to try out new weapons, loadouts, strategies, drop locations, and pay attention to what works and doesn't work for you, as everyone can play the game a little bit differently. No, I'm not a rusher. I don't rush into loads of buildings and kill 10, 15 people a game. I play quite a conserved, tactical playstyle, and it works really well for me. I utilize long-range gunfights, as I'm not very good at close-range ones. Over time, you'll develop your own unique playstyle and become a more effective and formidable opponent. And don't be afraid to play that more conserved game style just because you see these streamers rushing into buildings and 1v4ing people. It takes a really long time to get there, and trust me when I say they've been playing Call of Duty for many years. They've been sweating it out for a lot of them, and all kudos to them, no problems there, but that might not be the best effective method for you in the first place. Tip number 10, use your minimap. In Warzone 2, your minimap is a valuable tool that can help you navigate the battlefield and stay one step ahead of your enemies. Keep an eye on your minimap at all times and use it to see where enemies are and plan your movements accordingly. You can use the minimap to spot opportunities such as enemies that are moving into a vulnerable position, or when there's buy stations or vehicles nearby. And just to highlight how effective minimaps can be, watch this clip and give me your instant reaction. You think he's cheating, right? Wrong. Take a closer look at the minimap. You can see the red dot of the enemy right there. And Symphony just shot in that direction and got the kill. Now, this isn't something you're going to pick up straight away. Trust me when I say he's had years of practice of doing this and gets called out a lot for cheating, for doing things like this, because he is probably the best minimap user in all of Warzone, as he constantly checks it and just has the general game sense to shoot in the direction that they are facing. Now, there's a lot of times that he will miss these shots. Just because you're seeing this and he's hit it one time doesn't mean he's hitting it to that rate. Chances are it's a lot lower than that percentage, but it's definitely something you can look to integrate in your game as well, and can really prove how effective minimaps can be, because he's killed someone without them even being able to see him, and he can't even see them either. So who's winning that gunfight 10 out of 10 times? Symphony is. However, if you are looking for the best loadout for beginners, with the best beginner level, fully leveled, and pro level attachments with all the tuning provided, then click on the video on screen now. However, if you did enjoy this video and would like to stay up to date with all the best tips, tricks, and meta loadouts, then click that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.